Alright guys, so I get it. I've seen literally hundreds of comments requesting this video. The Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus, the Sony Xperia XE Premium. You guys want to see how they stack up, so let's get started. Now these phones may be the two most popular phones of 2017 so far. And have to say, very impressive both phones. And these are the first two announced phones with a Snapdragon 835, both 4GB RAM. And Galaxy S8 Plus winning the boot up test. And now Sony up as well. Alright guys, so here we go. We got everything closed out on both phones. So first up, BBC News. Alright, slight advantage here for the Sony. iFinding next. Again, advantage here for the Sony. YouTube. And advantage here for the Sony. There's one of my videos you guys can check out. Alright, calculator next. And after this, I have a lot more planned. Clock. Alright, so let's do eBay next. And again, we got Sony here. So Sony obviously doing really, really well so far. Photos. Again, that looked like Sony. Alright, so we got our first game here. We got 3 games. First one, Asphalt 8. So yeah, we got multitasking, we got web browsing, camera speed, fingerprint scanner. Once again, Sony. So Sony doing really incredible here. Alright, let's do settings next. Wow, again, Sony. CBS Sports. Once again, guys, same result. Temple Run 2. Wow, so another one for Sony. This is very, very one-sided so far. But obviously more to test planned. Alright, so we got Modern Combat 5 next. And this is a new game that's downloaded today. At least new for these tests. Alright guys, let's try it again. So obviously when it happens with both phones, obviously a problem with the server. Alright, so we got Modern Combat 5 next. So just looking at this bar right here. Alright, so Sony first one to load that up. Alright, so obviously with the apps, guys, very clearly going with the Sony here. AnTuTu benchmark next. Now, these are the two highest scores on Android, but you see still a pretty big gap. So 168,000 for the Galaxy, 178,000 for the Sony. Alright guys, so we got Chrome next. Let's do imdb.com. Ooh, wow. Alright, so Sony there. Let's do Zelda next. Zelda.com. Man, guys, this is pretty incredible here. Let's do Nintendo. Nintendo.com. And let's do 2 more. Let's do Samsung.com and then Sony.com. Alright, Samsung.com. Alright, so fittingly, Samsung does win Samsung.com. And let's do Sony.com last. Sony. and Sony.com going to Sony. So pretty clear, guys, for the web browsing does go to Sony. Alright, so let's do camera speed next. And a lot of you guys liked Whalmer in the last video, so we bring him back. Alright guys, so awesome Pokemon right here. I think from Gen 3 or something like that, Gen 3 or 4. And again, good enough. Alright, so in terms of megapixels, 19 on the Sony, 12 on the Samsung. But for now, it's testing out the speed. We'll have lots of comparisons in the future. So let me just center this a bit more. Alright. So again, guys, just testing out the speed. Alright guys, so clearly Galaxy a little bit faster at taking pictures. Alright, so next up. Alright guys, so let's test out the fingerprint scanners next. Now I do prefer the fingerprint scanner on the Sony, which is on the side. Not a fan of the placement of the Galaxy, which is here on the back. But for now, we're testing out the speed. Guys, trying to press both these at the same time is extremely awkward. Mostly because of the position of the Galaxy. And been trying for a few minutes just getting a little bit of a rhythm. But yeah, it's based on what I've seen, it looks like the Sony a little bit faster fingerprint scanner. Alright guys, so let's take a look at the design of phones next. Now both these phones, beautiful displays. On the Sony, this is the world's first phone with a 4K HDR screen display. And it's only the second phone in the world with a 4K screen in general. The first was the Sony Xperia Z5 Premium. Now on the Galaxy, you don't have 4K. However, you do have this edge screen display. Really beautiful panel. And the Galaxy screen is larger, so 6.2 inches versus 5.5 for the Sony. Now on the Galaxy, 529 pixels per inch. On the Sony, 807, so highest for any phone on the market. Now front-facing camera, I do prefer the Sony here, so 13 megapixels there, and 8 on the Galaxy. And let's take a look at the bottom of the phones. So you got USB-C on both. Also on the Sony, you do have dual front-facing speakers, so I guess that's one advantage to having the larger bezels. Fingerprint scanner on the side for the Sony. Both these phones do have headphone jacks. The other side, and in the back. Now let me just wipe this down real quick. Alright guys, so here's a look at the back, shined up. Now rear-facing camera on the Galaxy, 12 megapixels. On the Sony, it's 19. We'll have comparisons for that. And really guys, just absolutely gorgeous designs on both. These are personally in my top, I think, 3 for all phones on the market in terms of design. Alright guys, so internally both these phones, 64 gigabytes. Both phones do have micro SD card support. Battery on the Galaxy is larger, so 3500 versus 3230 on the Sony. Both phones Snapdragon 835, first 2 phones on the market announced for that. 4 GB RAM for both. Both phones are waterproof, both fingerprint scanners, both USB Type-C. Alright guys, so multitasking last. And let's go ahead and try to load up a game. So let's do Temper Run 2 first. Alright, so neither phone reloaded, great sign. Asphalt 8. Alright, so on the Samsung it is reloading. Now sometimes it doesn't, but this time it is. But as you guys see on the Sony, not reloading. BBC News next. Alright, so this one going to Samsung. Let's do YouTube. Alright, so both phones are reloading YouTube. Alright guys, so as you just saw, the Wi-Fi cut out. Obviously these phones too much to handle for the Wi-Fi router. Let's do iFunny next. So yeah, not surprising, because the Wi-Fi did cut out, is restarting some of these apps, but still a little bit faster on the Sony. Alright, eBay. So again, a little bit faster on the Sony. Photos. I think that was pretty close. And we're just going to do a few more to get my final thoughts. AnTuTu. Modern Combat 5. Alright, so yeah, this one is restarting for both phones. And this one seems to always restart. I've only used it a couple times now, but seems pretty consistently that it's going to restart. CBS Sports. So yeah, once again, this one also restarting, but faster on the Sony. Camera. And last one, guys. Let's do Chrome. So Sony here. Alright guys, now for the results. Now first up, I want to say that I do really like both these phones. And I know it's not really a popular opinion. I know a lot of people, if you're a Sony fan, you might hate Samsung or vice versa. But personally speaking, these are probably my two favorite phones currently on the market. And that's because they share a lot of the same qualities. Both phones are waterproof, excellent screens on both, excellent cameras on both, especially on the rear. Best specs on the market, Snapdragon 835, micro SD card support. So really guys, these phones really check off a ton of the boxes, and I do really like both of them. Now that said, in terms of which phone won the speed test, I think it was pretty obviously the Sony phone. Now obviously guys, there's a lot more comparisons to do. So that includes stuff like camera tests, battery life, and more, and I do have all that planned. So if you don't want to miss any of that, you can subscribe in the top left corner, click on the logo, or you can watch another video right now in the bottom right. Alright guys, thanks again for watching.